Hold on tight, Bears family. Did you hear our star corner is out against Minnesota? But this ain't what you think. And if that stings, wait for it. We're 3-17 in our last 20 divisional games. Yeah, you read that right. How the hell did this happen with a staff that promised to OWN the North? And now, with 15 players on the injury report, including our defensive quarterback, we're walking into a game that could decide the whole season. Can we win in the Vikings' house without key pieces? The answer will blow your mind. Don't miss a second. Hit that subscribe button and smash that like. Chicago needs this. The organization just made it official. Jalen Johnson is OUT for the game against Minnesota. And before anyone freaks out, let me break down exactly what's going on here. Because there's way more to this than meets the eye. Johnson was downgraded from questionable to out on Saturday. And I know what a lot of you are thinking. Does this mean his recovery's going sideways? Are we screwed? And I'm telling you this. Breathe. This is all protocol. Straight up NFL red tape. Nobody, and I mean nobody with half a brain, thought Johnson was coming back this week after groin surgery in week 2, but let's rewind for a second. Remember when we lost Johnson in week 2? That was brutal. This dude was our number 1 corner, the guy who could lock down the best receivers in the league. Then boom, groin surgery, and we're all left wondering, when's he coming back? Will he be the same guy? Can we survive without him in a division where we face Justin Jefferson twice? Plus the receivers in Green Bay and Detroit. Here's what's really going on. The 21-day window for his return opened Friday. That's mandatory when a player's on IR, once that window opens. League rules say the player has to be listed as out instead of questionable the day before the game. That's it. No drama, no setback, just how the system works. But here's the part most folks don't get. Unlike what happened with the Ravens earlier this season, where there was all kinds of confusion about a player's status, the Bears are being totally transparent. They're following the rules to the letter. No mind games, no trying to mess with Minnesota about who's playing. Just straight up honesty. And you know what really matters here? Conditioning. Johnson had surgery, folks. It's not just about the groin healing. The man needs to get back into football shape. Think about it. He's been out since week 2. That's weeks without real contact. Without running full-speed routes against NFL-caliber receivers. Without making those explosive cuts a corner's gotta make dozens of times every game. One practice ain't enough. 2 practices ain't enough. They need time to make sure he's 100%, not 70, not 85, 100. Because let me ask you this, what's worse? Keeping him out to more weeks to get fully ready or rushing him back? He tweaks it in the first quarter and we lose him for the rest of the season. I think the answer's obvious. And the organization knows it. That's why they're being careful. That's why they're not rushing him now. Here's the real timeline of what's probably gonna happen. We'll see the same thing next week before the Pittsburgh game. Johnson will be on the injury report. He'll probably practice more, but still won't play. And we likely won't see him back until around the Philly game on Black Friday, maybe just after. And that's fine. You know why? Because I'd rather have Jalen Johnson fully healthy for the stretch run, for the games that really matter, for a possible playoff push, than rush him back and risk losing him for the year. Think back to what happened with Roquan Smith a few years ago. We rushed him back from injury. He wasn't 100%. His play dropped off. And eventually we lost him in a trade. We can't make that same mistake with Johnson. In the meantime, Nahshon Wright is going to keep starting this Sunday. And here's the question we all need to ask. Has Wright done enough to keep this secondary afloat? While we wait for our top corner to return, I'll tell you this, Wright's been solid. Not spectacular, not a Pro Bowler, but solid. He's done his job. He's kept things under control. And that's all you can ask from a fill-in corner. But going up against Justin Jefferson in Minneapolis, that's a whole different level. Jefferson's one of the best in the league. He's fast, he's technical, he's got insane hands. And he's playing at home where the crowd's gonna be roaring. Wright's gonna need the game of his life. If that caught you off guard, wait till you hear this. Let's talk about the elephant in the room that nobody in this organization wants to bring up. Ben Johnson came in with all the hype, all the expectations of being the savior who'd finally lead us to dominate the NFC North. Ryan Poles literally said we were gonna take the North and not give it back. Remember that? I remember it clearly, but here are the cold, hard facts, folks. We're 0-2 in the division under Ben Johnson. 0-2, and it's not just this season. Look at the full numbers and brace yourselves, because this hurts. Let me take you on a painful but necessary trip down memory lane. We've lost 8 of our last 9 divisional games. 8 out of 9. The only win came when Green Bay benched Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs to avoid injuries before the playoffs in a game that meant nothing to them. That's our only recent divisional win. Let me say it again. Our only win came when the other team basically waved the white flag. But wait, it gets worse. Since 2020, we've lost 26 out of 32 divisional games. 26 out of 32. That's a win percentage of 18.75%. 18.75. Even in 2020, our last playoff season, we went to and for in the division. And here's what really kills me. The last time we had a winning record in the division was 2019. That's 6 years ago. And the last time we won the NFC North was 2018, when we went 5-1 against our rivals under Matt Nagy in his first year. And you know what's the most embarrassing part? Under Matt Nagy, with all his flaws, all the chaos, all the questionable decisions, with Trubisky at quarterback, we were 12-12 in divisional games. 12-12, a .500 record. Not great, but at least competitive, since Poles took over as GM. With Matt Eberflus and now Ben Johnson coaching, we've won 3 of our last 20 divisional games. 3 out of 20. That's a record of 3-17. 3-17. Let me ask you, how the hell are we worse now than we were under Nagy? Let me give you more historical context, because this matters. The last coach who really understood the importance of owning the division was Lovie Smith. Lovie only had 2 losing divisional seasons in 9 years. In 2010, he went 5-1 in the division. In 2006, when we went to the Super Bowl, 5-1. In 2005, 5-1. Lovie didn't always win the championship. Didn't always make the playoffs, but he was always competitive in the division. He always talked about how critical those divisional games were. He got it. If you can't win in your own house, in your own division, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs. And before Lovie, we had Mike Ditka. The legendary Mike Ditka won 5 straight division titles from 1984 to 1988. 6 division titles in 7 years. That was the standard for the Chicago Bears. That was the expectation. But now, look where we are. Under John Fox, we went 3-15 in the division over 3 years. 3-15. Under Mark Trestman, we went 3-9 in 2 years. And now, under this new regime that was supposed to change everything, we're 3-17 in our last 20 divisional games. Now listen to what Ben Johnson said this week. And pay close attention because this is telling. We don't control who's on our schedule, other than knowing you'll face your division twice a year. And we focus on those games when they come. Then he added, we're 0-2 in the division right now. This one's big for us. We desperately need this win. I think Johnson's right that you've got to focus week to week. You can't look ahead. Can't worry about next week's game when you've got one this Sunday. That's coaching 101. But here's my issue. When are we going to start treating divisional games like what they are? These aren't just regular games, folks. These are the games that define your season. Divisional records are crucial in playoff tie-breakers. If we end up tied with Minnesota or Green Bay or Detroit at the end of the season, the first tie-breaker is head-to-head. The second is divisional record. And here's the hardest truth nobody wants to admit. The worst thing that happened to us was Detroit getting good in 20-20-2. Before that, we could always count on the Lions being worse than us and hiding our own flaws when we compared ourselves to the Vikings and Packers. The Lions were the team we could beat twice a year, guaranteed. They were our safety net. But now Dan Campbell came in, built a winning culture. And suddenly the Lions are one of the best teams in the NFC, and we're exposed. Now all 3 teams are better than us. Green Bay's got Jordan Love developing into a legit quarterback. Minnesota's got Justin Jefferson, one of the best receivers in the league. Detroit's got one of the best O-lines in the NFL and a defense that's made a huge leap. We're the new Arizona Cardinals of the NFC North. While the other 3 teams got better and stayed better over time, we fell behind. And that's unacceptable for a franchise with our history, with our defensive tradition, with the monsters of the Midway, with everything the Navy and Orange stands for. Think about it. In the 80s under Ditka, we own this division. In the 2000s under Lovie, we were competitive in this division. Now in the 2020s, we're the worst in the division. That's a massive fall for a franchise with 9 championships in its history. Another divisional loss on Sunday, and maybe it's time for Johnson to start taking this approach a little more seriously. Because I'll tell you this, you can't take the North if you can't win in the North. You can't talk about owning the division if you're 3-17 in your last 20 divisional games. And here's my biggest concern, is this a coaching problem, a talent problem, or a mindset problem? Because the numbers suggest it's deeper than just bad luck or facing better teams. And just when you thought we were done, here comes the immediate problem, the challenge staring us in the face right now. The injury report for the Minnesota game has 15 players listed. 15. Let me say that again so it sinks in. 15 players on the injury report heading into a critical divisional matchup in one of the most hostile environments in the league, US Bank Stadium. Let's break this down because it's important to understand the full weight of what we're walking into. And it's not just a list of names. It's the real impact each of these injuries has on our game plan, our ability to compete, and our chances of pulling out a win. First, the ones who are out. Jahdae Walker, our wide receiver, is out with a concussion. Walker's only played in 3 games this season, so his absence isn't a total gut punch, but it's still one less body in the receiver rotation. But here's the big one, TJ Edwards. Our linebacker, who's been a cornerstone of the defense, is out with a hand injury. And this hurts, folks. Edwards didn't practice at all this week, 0 reps. That tells you the injury is serious. Look at his numbers this year, 31 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 3 passes defended. But the numbers don't tell the whole story. Edwards is the quarterback of our defense. He's the one making the pre-snap calls, adjusting the defense based on what he sees from the offense, making sure everyone's lined up right. Losing him against Minnesota, against an offensive coordinator like Kevin O'Connell, who's known for pre-snap motion and complex formations, is massive. Who's gonna make those calls now? Who's gonna be the brain of our defense on the field? Then we've got the questionables. Jalen Johnson, as we already covered, is questionable with the groin, but we know he's not playing. But here's the other big one. Jaquan Brisker, our safety who's been a beast this year, is questionable with a back issue. Brisker was limited in practice this week. Limited means he did some drills, but not everything. And that worries me because back injuries are one of those things that can affect everything. Your ability to twist, change direction, make tackles. Look at Brisker's numbers this year. 1 sack, 46 tackles, 1 interception, 3 passes defended. But again, stats don't tell the full story. Brisker is our strong safety, the guy who comes down to help in the run game, who can cover tight ends, who delivers those momentum-shifting hits if Brisker can't go. Or if he plays but isn't 100%, that changes our whole defense, especially against a tight end like TJ Hawkinson, who's one of Kirk Cousins' favorite weapons. But here's where it gets interesting, and this is what gives me hope. We've got 11 players who were full participants in practice this week, despite being on the injury report. 11 guys listed, but they practiced without limitations. Ruben Hippolyta with a knee, full practice. Joe Thuney, our veteran guard we brought in this offseason, full practice, just resting. Josh Blackwell, coming back from a concussion, full practice, cleared protocol. Dander Swift with a hip, full practice. And this is huge because Swift has been our lead back this year. 113 carries, 504 yards for rushing touchdowns, plus 23 catches for 210 yards and a receiving touchdown. We need him healthy. Dominique Robinson with an ankle, full practice. Robinson's got 1.5 sacks this year, 2 tackles for loss, 10 total tackles. He's part of our pass rush rotation and we need him against a solid Minnesota O-line. Cole Kmet with a back, full practice. Kmet is our number 1 tight end, one of Caleb Williams' favorite targets. If Kmet couldn't go, that would be a major blow to our passing game. Tyreek Stevenson with a shoulder, full practice. Stevenson's got 36 tackles, 1 pick, 8 passes defended. He's our other starting corner alongside Johnson, and with Johnson out, Stevenson becomes even more important. Rome Odunze with an ankle, full practice. And this is huge because Odunze has been a breakout star this year. 69 targets, 37 catches, 559 yards, 6 touchdowns. 6 touchdowns as a rookie wideout is no joke. We need him at full strength. DJ Moore with a shoulder, full practice. Moore's had a quieter season than expected with 30 catches for 403 yards and just 1 touchdown, but he's still our WR1 and we need him healthy. Grady Jarrett resting, full practice. Jarrett's our veteran defensive tackle we brought in to anchor the middle. He's got 12 tackles this year and his presence is key against the run. And Kevin Byard resting, full practice. Byard's been phenomenal this year. 48 tackles, 4 interceptions, 5 passes defended. 4 picks puts him among the league leaders. He's our free safety, the last line of defense, and we need him 100%. And you know what this tells me? That the medical and training staff is being extremely cautious. They're monitoring every player, making sure no one's being rushed back. They're being proactive instead of reactive. And that's exactly what they should be doing. But here's the reality we're facing. We're heading to Minneapolis, one of the loudest indoor stadiums in the NFL, with an injury report the size of a phone book. To play a game we desperately need to win, US Bank Stadium is loud, one of the loudest domes in the league. The crowd's gonna be going nuts. It's gonna be hard to communicate at the line of scrimmage. It's gonna be hard to hear the calls. And with TJ Edwards out, that makes everything even harder. The Vikings are 2-0 in the division. We're 0-2. They're 4-5 overall. We're 6-3. This game could define our season. If we win, we go to 7-3 and 1-2 in the division, still alive in the race. If we lose, we drop to 6-4 and 0-3 in the division, basically out of it. And here are the numbers that should give you hope, that should make you believe. We can win this game despite all the injuries. In our last 3 games, we've averaged 29 points per game, better than our season average of 26.6. We're playing better on offense. We're racking up for 146.3 yards per game over the last 3, compared to our season average of 379.8. That's nearly 70 more yards per game. We're moving the ball better. We're more efficient in the passing game. We're averaging 263 yards per game over the last 3, compared to 232.4 on the season. Caleb Williams is getting better, finding his rhythm, making the right reads, making the right decisions and in the run game. We're averaging 183.3 yards per game over the last 3, compared to 147.3 on the season. That's a 36-yard bump. Swift is running better. The O-line is opening better lanes. The run scheme is clicking. We're getting better, folks. The numbers don't lie. We're playing our best football right when we need it most. We're peaking at the right time, but let me ask you this. Is it enough? Is it enough with all these injuries? Is it enough without TJ Edwards making the defensive calls? Is it enough without Jalen Johnson covering Justin Jefferson? Is it enough against the Vikings team that's just as desperate for a win as we are? The odds have us as 2.5-point underdogs. The over-under is 48.5. The Vikings are minus 152 on the money line. We're plus 127. That means if you bet $100 on the Bears and we win, you get 127 back. But I'll tell you this, numbers on paper don't win football games. Odds don't win games. Predictions don't win games. Execution wins games. Heart wins games. The ability to overcome adversity wins games. And if there's one thing I know about Chicago, about this city, about this fan base, it's that we love underdogs. We love when nobody believes in us. We love when everyone counts us out. Because that's when we play our best football. So let me ask you something, Bears family. After everything we just broke down, after understanding the Jalen Johnson situation and seeing that the team is handling his return the right way, after facing the harsh truth of our absolutely unacceptable divisional record, after seeing that massive injury report with 15 names on it, do you believe this team has what it takes to go into Minneapolis and finally get that first divisional win? Do you believe Ben Johnson can break this curse that's haunted us for years? Do you believe we can win without TJ Edwards calling the shots on defense? Do you believe Nahshon Wright can hold his own against Justin Jefferson? Do you believe our offense can keep up this hot streak in one of the toughest environments in the league? I want to know what you think about how they're handling Johnson's injury. Are you on board with taking the time, being cautious, not rushing him back? Or do you think we should take the risk and throw him out there even if he's not 100%? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This is a critical decision that could shape the rest of our season. And about our divisional problem, this 3-17 curse over the last 20 games. What needs to change? Is it Johnson's approach? Does he need to start treating these divisional games like the battles they are? Or is it on the players? Do we just not have the talent to go toe-to-toe with Green Bay, Minnesota, and Detroit? Or have we just been unlucky? I want to hear from you, because this community is smarter than any analyst on national TV. And finally, with 15 players on the injury report, With TJ Edwards definitely out. With Yaquin Brisker questionable, who needs to step up this Sunday? Will it be Nashin Wright filling in for Johnson? Will it be the backup linebacker stepping into Edwards' role? Will it be Caleb Williams having the game of his life? Will it be Dander Swift going off for 150 yards? Tell me who you think is going to be the unexpected hero against the Vikings, but listen to me. Because this matters and I want you to understand what we're building here. We're not just a YouTube channel. We're not just another outlet talking about the Bears. We're a family. We're the voice of real Chicago fans who bleed navy and orange, who lived through the Trubisky heartbreak, who survived the Trestman years, who endured the John Fox era, but never stopped believing. You deserve honest content. Real analysis, no filters, no sugarcoating. You deserve someone who'll tell you when the organization is making smart moves and when they're screwing up. You deserve someone who understands this franchise's history, who respects the monsters of the Midway legacy, who knows what it means to be a Bears fan in Chicago. If you want to be part of this family, if you want to be the first to know everything going on with our Bears, if you want deep analysis mixed with the passion of a true Chicago fan, then that subscribe button is waiting for you. Hit it right now, not tomorrow, not later, right now. Turn on the bell so YouTube lets you know every time we drop exclusive content. Because I promise you, we'll have news before ESPN, before NFL Network, before any other channel. We'll have the deepest breakdowns, the realest takes, the most complete coverage of the Chicago Bears you'll find on YouTube. And if this video gave you value, if you learned something new about Jalen Johnson's situation, if you understand our divisional struggles better now, if you feel like we're saying what nobody else dares to say, hit that like button. That like tells YouTube this content matters, that more people should see it, that we deserve to grow, because I guarantee you this, tomorrow we'll have more breaking news. Next week we'll have a full breakdown of the Minnesota game that you won't find anywhere else. We'll dissect every play, every coaching decision, every adjustment we made or didn't make. And you can't miss what's coming for Chicago. Especially with the final stretch of the season heating up. We've got Pittsburgh after Minnesota, then Detroit on Thanksgiving, then San Francisco, then Minnesota again. Every one of those games is critical. Every one of those games could decide whether we make the playoffs or not. And we'll be here covering every second, analyzing every move, giving you the truth with no filter. So hit that like if you believe Johnson needs to start prioritizing divisional games. Subscribe if you believe this team can still turn the season around and fight for the North. If you believe Caleb Williams is the quarterback of the future. If you believe Ryan Poles is building something special. And comment if you're ready to see this team finally break the divisional curse this Sunday in Minneapolis. Comment if you believe we can win without TJ Edwards. Comment if you believe Nashin Wright can have the game of his life against Justin Jefferson. Comment whatever's on your mind. I want to hear from you, from Chicago, with all the heart and all the passion this city deserves. With respect for the legacy of Ditka, Singletary, Urlacher, Peyton, Butkus, with the hope that we're finally building something special. I'll see you in the next video. Bear down, family. Bear down. Bear down.